Greetings, fiber folk. My name is Susan Upson. I am a Reading Method Distinguished Master Dyer and teacher. And today I'd like to talk to you about what the heck's a NiddyNoddy. Well, I have several in front of me. Some are my favorites, some are not. What is a NiddyNoddy? Well, it's a tool that's useful to help spinners and dyers too, in fact. When you spin on a spinning wheel, your yarn goes around a bobbin, and when the bobbin is full, what do you do with it? Well, you could wind it into a ball, but then that really doesn't tell you too much. How much yardage do you have? How do you set the twist? How do you do all these things? Well, a NiddyNoddy is really helpful for that. And NiddyNoddies have been around for a very long time. The oldest evidence of a NiddyNoddy that I've been able to see is two women who were buried in a very elaborate ship in Norway. And actually, I didn't see that, I just read about it. And in their belongings that they buried them with were two NiddyNoddies. So these ladies must have been kind of important because they had a lot of ornamentation on their burial casket, if you will, their ship. And also they had lots of tools and very elaborate things buried with them. So maybe they were master dyers and spinners too. So anyway, that was in 834 AD, by the way. And so NiddyNoddies again have been around for at least since then. In medieval times, there are also written evidence of NiddyNoddies. They are drawings made in the margins of medieval manuscripts, paintings. Leonardo da Vinci in the 1500s, he has paintings of the Madonna and Child, and he's holding a NiddyNoddy. So again, they've been around for a really long time and are very useful. So what actually does a NiddyNoddy look like with yarn on it? Well, this is what I did. This is my Marion Logan NiddyNoddy, and this has, I would have to count them again, but this is a 2-yard NiddyNoddy, so each wrap around this, each single wrap is 2 yards. So you can do a couple of ways. You can multiply how many threads I have on any one thing here. I guess it's an arm. And multiply that by 2, and that tells me how many yards that I have on here. And here's another 2-yard. This is my favorite one. I love this. This is a Lendrum, and I like this particularly because it has a pointed edge and it's really easy to slide the skein off. And it has, even though the arm isn't very long, it has a little end on it, so the yarn doesn't slip off. So I really like that. So this is my current favorite. This is a 1.5 yard Ashford unfinished NiddyNoddy. The Lendrum is also unfinished, by the way. So this is a 1.5 yard. So each one all the way around would be 1.5 yards. You'd multiply how many you had of threads you had in one arm by 1.5, and that would give you how many yards that you have. And it's just an approximation. It's not super exact, but for all intents and purposes, a lot of people use it for that. This is also a 2-yard NiddyNoddy, maybe a little bit less. This is an old one, and it's really weird because normally you can see with this one has a 90-degree angle. This one doesn't. It's really weird, but it does work. It's just weird. It's not my favorite. This is what I call my traveling NiddyNoddy. It's very tiny. I think this is like a foot or something, 1.5 foot. And you can use this for sampling. It's all very nice for sampling. I love it. So when you take this off, and I'm not going to take this off now because this is very highly spun and it's going to unravel like crazy, kink up and be nuts. So I'm not going to take that off. But this skein of yarn used to look like this. And so what you do is when you take this off, your skein off, it looks like this. Okay, I didn't have my ends tied, so please forgive me. But this is all together went all the way around is 2 yards, approximately. So here's my skein, and this is really handy if you wanted to, if this wasn't already dyed, like if this was plain wool, you could actually, you know, uncolored, you could actually skein up balls of wool, natural colored wool, that's, or unspun wool, and you can set the twist in it, or just not set the twist if you're using already commercial yarn. And this is an easy way to lay this in a dye pan and do some indie dyeing if you'd like. And also, I'll just deal with that later. Again, you can use it for estimating yardage. I have a way, no, NiddyNoddies, before I get to that, NiddyNoddies can cost all kinds of money. This one was free because this was from my mentor, which was lovely. This was free because I ended up buying a spinning wheel from somebody who gave this to me. This, I can't remember, I think this was probably about $15, maybe $19. This I got as a steal. There was a sale going on. I think I paid $20 for this. And this, I think, this little guy, it's got some hand tuning and fine, you know, fine woodworking done on it. I think I paid $15 or $18 for this. So you just never know. But you know, what if you don't really want to spend all that money? And this also comes apart, which is nice. Most of them do. This one doesn't. This one doesn't come apart easily at all. But these three come apart really nicely. And that's good for travel. But what if you don't want to spend that money, and if you would really rather have that, use that money for fiber, which is what I would do? Well, you can make a NiddyNoddy yourself. How do you do that, you say? Well, you get 1-inch PVC pipe. Now, because of my fondness for 2-yard skeins, this is 18 inches, and when you put this together, how I'm going to show you, you will get 2-yard skeins. Okay, so each wind would be approximately 2 yards. So what you need is an 18-inch piece of pipe, 1-inch pipe, and you can get pipe cutters that they look like big pliers or big wrenches, big pliers actually, and you can use them to cut just like a big old scissors to cut your pipe. Those are kind of expensive. They run about $9 to $20 depending on where you're going. This was done with a hacksaw. You just cut that off, and actually my husband did it, and he did a really nice job of smoothing the ends. I probably wouldn't have done that because he's so fastidious and wonderful. Anyway, and then he cut me 4 6-inch pieces. All right, so you've got an 18-inch and 4 6-inch pieces. I got these at Home Depot, and you can buy these in 2-foot lengths. You can also buy a big old long piece of pipe and cut it up yourself. That was too complicated, unless you're going to make a whole bunch. So I just bought 2 2-foot lengths, and it was very inexpensive, a couple bucks. And then you want 2 T connectors. All right, that's T-E-E, not T-E-A. So 2 T connectors and 4 caps. And these are all can't think of the word, spiraled, unthreaded is what I'm thinking of. These are all unthreaded so that they're easy to do, put together. There's also a piece that you can buy. This is an extender piece. So for example, if I wanted, we're going to use these just as an example. If I wanted to make something longer, like say for example, this was a 12-inch and this was a 12-inch, and I could make a 24-inch. So you can get these extender pieces to make your thing all together. I guess it's called the body of the NiddyNoddy. All together, you can make it just in whatever size you want. But for the 2-yard skein, you want the 18-inch. I think it's for a 1-yard skein or 1.5, it's 12. For 1.5-yard skein, it's 12 inches, I think. But let's proceed and build our NiddyNoddy, shall we? So we're going to put this on, so it goes like you're going to play croquet, I guess. And then the other one, you're going to put this at 90 degrees. All right? So now you have your two heads and the body. All right? So now you're going to put one side over here, one side over here, one side over here, one side over here, and guess what you have? You have a NiddyNoddy, and it's about, it's a little longer than I expected, but that's okay. Maybe it's closer to this one. No? All right, maybe these are 1.5 and these are actually 2. Anyway, so then you put the caps on, and what's nice about the caps, like my Lendrum NiddyNoddy, is that the caps keep your yarn on, okay? Caps, so you can wind it all the way around, and I'm going to show you with our little handmade. There's a song that goes to the NiddyNoddy. And it starts out and says, NiddyNoddy, NiddyNoddy, 2 heads and 1 body. And then you start, 'tis one, tain't one, 'twill be one soon. 'Tis 2, tain't 2, 'twill be 2 soon. 'Tis 3, tain't 3, 'twill be 3 soon. 'Tis 4, tain't 4, 'twill be 4 soon, and so on and so on. So this is a really big NiddyNoddy. You know what, come to think of it, this looks like it's longer than that. Anyway, I may have to refresh you, because when I was reading it said 18 inches for a 2-yard NiddyNoddy, but mine I thought were 2 yards. I've been telling everybody they were 2 yards, and I was told they were 2 yards. So I may have my measurements off, but you can double check that. At least you know how to make one, and you know how to sing the song. Now, for me, I can't do that, for example, with as many winds as I had on this one, because I would have gone crazy. So I just was watching TV, and I usually stand when I wind. And I was watching TV, and I just wind the whole thing, and then I'll count. You know, I'll just say with my threads 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to this, and then I just double it because I was told this is a 2-yard. I never actually measured it, which is interesting. So double check your measurements. You can check that online at any time to see. But I had read that the 18-inch was a 2-yard, which actually kind of makes sense. But it's a nice big old skein. So again, you can just walk and talk and do this while you're chatting with people or watching TV. And again, it's kind of relaxing. I kind of like it actually. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's 4 all the way around. That's kind of cool, huh? Maybe I'll make that shorter. I don't know. You could theoretically make these little pieces shorter. Again, these are 6 inches. The reason, if you have really long skeins of yarn, for example, if you're spinning a lot of lace weight or really fine weight, fingering weight yarns, you may come across all the way across here. If you're doing really thick yarns or worsted, you may not use all of this. So you could even, make some smaller pieces and then cap them. And then if you were to take these off, now here's the important part that I didn't tell you, is if you were going to take this off of here, you would need to tie by using a figure 8 tie in between here, all 4 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You would need to tie those off, because once you get a lot of winds on here, it can get really squiggly and out of control really fast. So I'm not going to tie this because it's not very much, but what you would do is you would take off the edges here. I took off the whole thing, and there's your skein. Okay. There's your skein right there. It's not tied, but there's your skein. Oh, let's do it this way. And then you can just twist and twist and twist and twist and twist. And my fingers are kind of going in the opposite direction, so you're going to make a nice big twist here. And you can, when it starts getting really tight, you can feel it. And then you just wind it up like that. You have like a little mini skein. You can kind of mess with this so it looks nice, like that. My little mini skein, isn't that cute? Again, it's useful. Let's use the little one because this is out of control. So it's useful for skeining after you spin so that you can determine your yardage. And it's also good if you want to make a skein out of commercial yarn or previously undyed yarn, or even over-dyed yarn that you didn't like that you want to over-dye. You would need to have it in a skein. So if it was in a ball, you'd want to put it in a ball holder here, like mine, or I really want a wooden bowl one. But you put it in here, and then you just wind it on the NiddyNoddy all the way around. You don't have to sing the song, but remember, it's NiddyNoddy, NiddyNoddy, 2 heads, 1 body. 'Tis one, 'tain't one, 'twill be one soon. 'Tis 2, 'tain't 2, 'twill be 2 soon, etc., 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 all the way up, out till ad nauseum. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? I think that's it. But I love my NiddyNoddies. I never thought I would love my NiddyNoddies as much as I do. In fact, I had one of these that I actually gave away because I thought, oh, this is an ugly old thing. But you know what? I shouldn't have done that because it really is a cool thing. And like I said, I could make any size I want. You can travel with it easily. People don't freak out and say, oh, what is that? Unless they think it's a pipe bomb or something. I guess, would you use a pipe like that for a pipe bomb? I don't know. I probably shouldn't be talking about that, but it just came to mind. So if you have any questions, please let me know, or anybody at Reading Method, to ask about NiddyNoddies, anything that I missed, anything that you can think of. You can message me on Facebook. I'm Susan Langley Upson, or you can, yeah, that's probably the best. It's just email me or message me on Facebook. Let me know if you have any questions about the NiddyNoddy. I don't know what else to tell you, but boy, this was actually kind of fun. My first video. Yay! See you later.